We're back! Franklin and I are back, and this is my new haunted doll. And I'm still learning more about Franklin, who Pumpkin also seems to really love. That was Pumpkin snorting in the background. But I thought what I'd do is he can join me for some of my reels. Okay, here we go. Have some coffee before we start because coffee is life. Hi Franklin, I hope you don't mind doing this with me. I don't have my dowsing rods today. I'm going to say that's rocking because I'm leant on the table. See if it does it again. Come on. Oh my god! Ooh, if I hit it hard, it does something, but that falls off as well. It was rocking without me touching it before, so let's see if that happens again. So I want to talk about my forthcoming book today. And Franklin, if you have any thoughts, jump in. Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the real folklore that inspired the story. And I can't say too much because it'll give it away. So the book is called The First House, and it has real Australian history in it again. That is something that I always like to try and weave into my novels, in small or big ways. In fact, this is one of the books that really helped inspire this story. It's actually a book of significance. It's from 1884, but it publishes essays from as far back as the 1600s and some of the first experiences of Tasmania, the island and state of Australia where this book is set. What I did with this book and any other book like it that I could find was not only find a history of what happened in Tasmania at colonisation, and if you don't know, it's horrific what has happened, and then it was further horrific the way that we tried to fix it in Australia, and then the way that we talked about it afterwards. Hello. Do you know anything about the history of Tasmania, Franklin? Franklin is young. He's only about 5 years old, so this is probably new to him as well. So as well as the history of colonisation, it has a little bit of some of the folklore, and I had to do this really sensitively. So I am really against appropriation of Indigenous culture and stories. I like to include Indigenous people in my books, and I've talked this through with First Nations friends, and I loved the way one of my best friends responded to me, which was, well, don't erase us. And it was perfect. And so that's what I try and do. I try and have representation, but not to speak for them and not to appropriate their stories. So for the folklore, what I was inspired by was actually those accounts of colonisers and explorers who came to Australia and to Tasmania from as early as the 1600s. Things that they themselves observed. And so I've deliberately left the entity that I'm talking about unnamed. Do you know anything about these entities, Franklin? You're free to jump in. You like to talk when I'm talking, but not so much when it's silent. I also got a history of Tasmanian First Nations people written for school children in the middle of last century. Maybe that's something that you'd also respond a bit better to. I'll get it out later. So this entity is ancient. It's often described as malevolent. I don't know if it's dead. I don't know if it's ever been alive, Franklin. There are spirits of children in the First House book, though. What do you think about that? That was a really soft voice there I couldn't quite catch. Some of the children are even younger than you are. Some of them are a bit older. And they also help to tell the history, not just of the house, but of the region as well. Also inspired by real deaths that happened in the Australian colonies. So this entity, I don't want to describe too much, but you are introduced to it in the opening pages of the book, so I feel like I can talk about it. It's very dark to look at, so very black, like looking at night. If night could become a physical, tangible thing. It's often described as vast, big, especially its head, like the sky. It has really bright eyes. Now, some of the lore that I didn't include in the book that I want to share now is that this entity could travel, wasn't limited to being in just one place. but it always needed a place to stay. And people said that it could stay inside of people under certain circumstances. I won't give too much away. They also said, ooh, you find that a bit creepy, Franklin? Or is this something that you know about? I'm just looking at the lights going off. What do you think about a monster being able to live or stay inside a person? Sounds a bit like a demon, doesn't it? And I do wonder, all different cultures around the world have their own views on demons and entities and things like that. Dark gods, malevolent forces. But one thing I found really interesting about this one is that not only could it stay in certain people or in its home, which I don't know much about, and again, that's something that isn't my story to tell, but it could also stay in hollowed out trees. And a little while ago, I did a little SLR thing while I was walking the dog. Hey, Pumpkin. Do you come say hello? She's licking the table, you can't see her. Hello, can you come up here? Here she comes. Hello. She is a queen. Do you like Pumpkin, Franklin? Now that you know she's not going to eat you or bite you. She's alright. She will sniff and lick you. Maybe you'll get to know her. So one of the things I did when I was walking the dog was I had the SLR with the Ghost Tube app, and I was pointing it at normal trees, like healthy trees, nothing. I pointed it at all the hollow trees I could find. And there, yeah, and I saw it. The SLR saw it. Really tall as well, this entity. So it could... It's terrible. Yeah. It is a bit of... So getting back to this entity, there were lots of great journal entries, letters, and then those essays which had some accounts of it. And I'd never heard of it before, and so it was a real honour and privilege to bring some of that, what I feel is forgotten Australian history and folklore, to the fore. I'm a bit obsessed with folklore and history. What about you, Franklin? Do you like horror? You're 5. I mean, my kid liked horror when they were your age. They're the ones who actually got me back into it. Is there anything else you want to say before I wrap up the video? I'm going to keep bringing Franklin out just because it's nicer to look at than me as well. The first house is coming out next month. Dead Fox Publishing. It's very exciting. Can't wait to show the cover very soon. Pre-orders will be up shortly after the cover reveal as well with Dead Fox Publishing. And I'd love... Hi! Hello! The audiobook is also coming, hopefully the same date, but at least around the same time as the paperback and hardback. Do you prefer people reading stories aloud to you, Franklin? Definitely. Well, I'm actually reading this one. And it's going to be my first full-length novel that I've narrated that's out. So I really can't wait to see what you think. When I was a kid, I actually wanted to be a voiceover artist. I think that was me, rocking this chair. Yeah, that's me. Hey, it's not that hard to make it rock. Hopefully he can keep practicing and one day he'll do it with me off the table. You gonna do it when I'm off the table? You ready? You can do it now? I know it's hard. Alright, so I'll bring Franklin along to some more videos, also because he's a bit more attractive than I am. Sorry, I'm so sick for this one. I am really excited about the history and the folklore behind this novel. I can't wait for you guys to read it. Okay, bye!